So now armed with all the knowledge of how to tackle a reading comprehension passage, how to understand, how to link the paragraphs together, how to pay attention to words, to grammatical tools, to come to the central idea, to identify the supporting ideas, we are now ready to start with the next handout, which is RCHO 353204. Now, we have seen in the previous handout the different types of questions that were there. We discussed the various direct or the indirect questions that can come. And based on that now, we will be going through lengthier passages. Let's have a look at this passage. Now, let us also talk about the basic fundamental class that we had where we discussed different genres. You will see that the passages that we have been discussing, they don't all deal with the same topic or the same issues. In the same manner, in the exam also, if there is more than one passage that comes, it is going to be on a different issue. First passage something else, second something else. So what are you required to do? How are you going to become familiar with different topics? By reading on different topics. Now, since the time for the examination is now less in hand, so the best thing that you can do is practice from the practice booklet as well as from the online sectional tests that are given there. The online sectional tests will have passages taken from different genres. So that is how you can practice and do well in the reading comprehension passage or in any other section. Let's begin with this passage given here in your RCHO 4th handout. It says, India stands for the cooperation of all peoples of the world. So India stands for cooperation of the whole world. Our present struggle to alienate our hearts and minds from the West is an attempt at spiritual suicide. Now, who is the R? R refers to us, the Indians. So, our struggle to alienate, to separate, to keep away our hearts and minds from the West is an attempt at spiritual suicide. If, in the spirit of national vainglory, we shout from our housetops that the West has produced nothing that has an infinite value for man, then we only create a serious cause of doubt about the worth of any product of the Eastern mind. So this sentence says that if we doubt the things that have come out from the West and they say that they are useless, then that would be foolishness on our part. Now us, the Indians, then we form the Eastern mind as opposed to the Western mind. Then the paragraph says, for it is the mind of man in the East and the West which is ever approaching truth from different angles of vision. So according to the author, both the Eastern mind as well as the Western mind, both are looking towards finding the truth, but both have different perspectives. They have different aspects of doing the same thing. Then the author says, if it can be true that the standpoint of the West has betrayed it into an utter misdirection, then we can never be sure of the standpoint of the East. So if the West has gone awry, has gone wrong, we can't be saying that the East has done everything right. Let us be rid of all false pride. See, vainglory word mentioned earlier, false pride mentioned again. Let us be rid of all false pride and rejoice at any lamp being lit in any corner of the world, knowing that it is a part of the common illumination of our house. Now look at the thread over here. The first sentence, cooperation of all the peoples of the world. Last sentence, common illumination of our house. So in total, what is the paragraph telling us? It is telling us that India stands for all peoples of the world. We should not alienate the West. And then he gives certain supporting features that by doing so, we would be doing ourselves a great harm. We move on to the next paragraph. Or before that, some other points that I mentioned here, that both the East and the West approach truth from different angles. That is also stated. And then the author says that we should be happy about the good things that are happening, the good things that are coming out from the West or in any part of the world, because whatever good is coming from one place, it is going to spread to the whole world and it is going to illuminate the whole world, including us. Now, the next paragraph says the West has misunderstood the East. This is at the root of the disharmony that prevails between them. So, is there disharmony between the East and the West? Yes, there is. And one reason that the author states that it is there is that the West has not understood the East properly. But will it mend matters if the East in her turn tries to misunderstand the West? So if you have done harm to me, I also do harm to you. Is that the correct thing to do? That is what the author is saying. So now what kind of a question is this? Remember, in an earlier handout, we had discussed what is meant by a rhetorical question. A rhetorical question is a question that answers itself. The answer is inherent in the question itself. Let us read this question again. But will it mend matters if the East in her turn tries to misunderstand the West? So will it mend matters? No, it won't. That is what the question is saying, if not using the same words. All right, the next part then, it says the present age has been powerfully possessed by the West. It has only become possible because to her is given some great mission for man. We from the East have come to her to learn whatever she has to teach us. For by doing so, we hasten the fulfillment of this age. So the fulfillment of this age depends on both the East and the West. That is what this sentence says. We know that the East also has her lessons to give, and she has her own responsibility of not allowing her light to be extinguished. The West flourishes, that does not mean that the East does not. The West and the East, according to the author, both can learn from each other and grow together. The time will come when the West will find leisure to realize that she has a home of hers in the East where her food and her rest is. So the West will find a home in the East. The East should also communicate with and learn from the West. This is what the author is saying. So the author starts off by saying that the West has misunderstood the East, and then he says that the East should not misunderstand the West. Just because one side has done one wrong, the other side should not do the same wrong, should not make the same mistake. Then he talks about the influence of the West in the present ages, and he says the West will realize that the East is not a foe but a friend. The East and the West, we can call them the yin and the yang, and both of them should flourish together and grow together. This is the gist of the second paragraph. Now, there are certain questions based on these paragraphs. The first question says, what according to the author is spiritual suicide? It was mentioned in the first paragraph that the East would be committing spiritual suicide if it were to ignore the West. The first option, the attempt to build bridges between the East and the West. Attempt to build bridges. That would be a good thing, no? That would be communication between the two. So then would that be spiritual suicide? No. The tendency to distance ourselves from the ideas of the West. That, according to the author, would not be good for us, the Easterners. Now, the tendency to view the West as a separate entity and the tendency to shout from rooftops. When do you shout from rooftops? When you want to proclaim something, when you want to tell something to everyone. So options 1 and 4, do they find a place here? No. So they can be eliminated directly. We have 2 and 3. Tendency to view the West as a separate East, would that be spiritual suicide? Or to distance ourselves from the ideas of the West, that would be spiritual suicide. So according to the author, definitely option 2 is the answer. So 2 is stated in the second line of the first paragraph, that we should not alienate ourselves from the West. The same idea is summarized in the second option here. The next question deals with what is the main cause of disharmony between the East and the West. 1. The East being misunderstood by the West. This is mentioned at the beginning of the second paragraph. 2. The power of the West. Now the power of the West in the present ages is also mentioned in the second paragraph. But is it the cause or main cause of disharmony between the two? Let's check the other options. The mind of man. The mind of man, whether from the East or from the West, doesn't say anything over here. The standpoint of the East. So which option should we go for? Definitely the first option, which is directly stated. See, look here again. For both the questions, there was no requirement for us to go back if we had read with care. If you don't read the passage carefully, if you read in a hurry, for every question you will be going back and rereading. So you may get the correct answer, but then at the cost of answering more questions, which can be a big cost. So it says the first line of the second paragraph gives us the answer here to be option 1. Another question. What is common between the Eastern and the Western minds? The varied standpoints, the love for their own countries, ceaseless conflicts. Love for countries not mentioned. Ceaseless conflicts, that means they never agree on anything. Varied standpoints. Now if they don't agree, all right, varied standpoints, they've got different standpoints. Now how is option 1 different from option 4? Let's see. The approach to truth from different angles. Now it is mentioned in the passage that both the East and the West, they are aspiring to finding the truth, but their approach to doing so is different. So that points to the answer being option 4. The middle of the second paragraph states that where the minds of the East and the West meet, and the idea is expressed in option 4. Question 29 of your handout says that what is the role of the East? Can you recall where the author had talked about the role of the East? What should the East do? Let's see. Maybe reading the options is going to ring a bell. Option 1 says to teach her great mission to her own people first. To her own people first. I don't recall this idea anywhere in the passage. While we discussed it, did we discuss anything like this? No. 2. To create conflicts between the Eastern mind and the Western mind. Is that the role of the East? To create conflict? Let's see. 3rd, to keep her light burning such that it will eventually lead the West to realization. The light part over here, there was something that about light at the end of the passage, and what was that? That even if there is one lamp that is lit in the West, we should also be happy that it is going to illuminate the whole world. By we mean the East. Okay, 4th one, to mend matters with the West so that they share a common home. The last part, that the West will also realize that it has got a home in the East. So which answer should we go for? Option 3, because the 4th one is also there, but 4th one is meant for the West, that the West will realize that it has got a home in the East. Whereas the 3rd option, is related to the East. So hence, the role of the East to keep her light burning such that it will eventually lead the West to realization that the two of them need to grow together, flourish together, they have the common aim. As we have discussed, this was there in the last paragraph. 27th question. What is the main cause of disharmony between the East and the West? Option 1, the East being misunderstood by the West. That is mentioned in the second paragraph. The power of the West. The power of the West. Yes, that is also mentioned. But the power of the West in the present ages, is that the cause of disharmony? Let's read ahead. The mind of man, the standpoint of the East. Now, this option 1 is an option that is directly mentioned. Is that so? It says, the author tells the East to get rid of the misunderstanding attitude towards the West, the false pride in itself and rejoice at the West's achievements, the influence and power of the Western world, her own weaknesses so that it realizes her mission. The paragraph talked about vainglory, talked about pride, false pride. It did talk about being happy if a lamp is lit in any part of the world because it is going to illuminate the whole world. So we have a clear answer here in option 2. Misunderstanding attitude towards the West. It is the West that has misunderstood the East, that is written. The influence and power of the Western world. The author tells the East to get rid of the influence and power of the Western world. No, the author tells the East and the West, both of them, to grow together. Author tells the East to get rid of her own weaknesses so that it realizes her mission. Not mentioned directly. We can say, if we say that the weakness is that it is not able to be together with the West, to grow together, to learn from the West, right? Then it will be a problem for the East to realize her mission. What is the mission? To seek the truth. So in a long winded way we can come to that, but the question is a direct one and the answer is given directly in option 2. Last 3 lines of the para state that the East needs to rid itself of the idea that anything that is happening anywhere else in the world is not going to help it too. One lamp lighted anywhere in the world is going to illuminate the world. The 31st question. Which of the following would be a suitable title for the passage? So we come to the suitable title question again. Now this is an important question. Why? Because it directly deals with the central idea of the passage. The title of any book that you pick up tells you what is there within the pages of the book. The newspaper, when you pick up, so if there is a heading, so you will know what that article contains on the basis of that heading. So what should the title do? The title should direct you towards the central idea or the main topic of discussion in that particular article or passage in this case. Moreover, one more thing you should keep in mind, that the title should not be too lengthy. The title should be short and attractive. If it is a novel, then only people are going to pick it up. Same goes for any other article too. Now let's see. The first option, East or West. East or West. Is the author asking us to make a choice? No, he's not. He's saying that East and West both should grow together, both should learn from each other. Universal brotherhood. Maybe, we don't know. Let's see if we don't have a better answer than this. Another thing to remember, never stop at a particular option. Read all the options and then make up your mind about which is the best answer. How West can learn from East? But again, this is only one-sided. East is the best, again one-sided. So which answer should we go for? Universal brotherhood, that is option 2. East should learn from the West. West should also understand the East. Both should come together, and then both will realize their goal of seeking the truth. Then there are certain vocabulary based questions in some of the exams. Now these are pretty easy to answer because the words are not standalone words. They appear as part of a sentence in the passage. So it is possible at times that you may not have heard the word earlier, or you may not know the exact meaning, but you can make out from the way the word has been used, whether it's a positive word or a negative word, and then do some intelligent elimination. So let's read. Which of the following words is closest in meaning to the word alienate as used in the passage? Alienate. Do not alienate the West. That is what was written. So expel, ostracize, divide, segregate. Which one is the closest in meaning? Now, which one is the synonym? That is not the question. Which one is closest in meaning? That means it is possible, not sure, but it is possible that more than one word can apply as the answer. Then we have to pick the best one. Now let's have a look at the meanings of the words that are given here. Option 2, alienate and ostracize, are similar words. Why? Now ostracize is a very strong word. Alienate itself is a very strong word. Both have got very high degrees. Look at the other words that are there. Divide is a very mild term as compared to ostracize and alienate. Now, when you expel something, what do? You banish or debar or eject, remove. Segregate, separate, isolate, quarantine. Quarantine has become a common word these days. Ostracize is a very strong word. It means to shun, to avoid completely, to boycott, to spurn, to throw out of the society. So alienate in the paragraph has been used in a strong sense. And divide is a simple word, just means to break up into factions. So the 32nd, the answer option is going to be the second one. So vocabulary questions as well as questions from related to the flow of ideas, related to the central idea. So all the different types of questions that we mentioned at the beginning of the session, all of them are going to be there in your exams. You have to get accustomed to them. You have to think of various clues that are there that will help you get to the answer. All right. Now with that in mind, we start with the 5th passage. In between passages, when you are attempting passages, one passage, fine, your mind is fresh. The second passage, okay, you keep on working with concentration. Third, quite possible that yes, you can attempt the third one also. Fourth, then you start thinking, oh, let me just get up a little while. This is too much of a strain. I have to concentrate too much. Your mind will start to wander. Can you afford to do that? Every exam that you're going to write is going to be of more than 2 hours. So you need to have that practice of sitting down at your table for long hours with full concentration, attempting one section at a time. See, in the board exams that you just wrote, or in any other exam, in the school exams, in the college exams, each exam is related to only one particular subject, one particular issue. Whereas these competitive exams, they're going to have different sections, and you have to quickly go from one section to the other. So you will be doing an English or VA section, a quantitative ability section, logical reasoning section, some other special section that is there. So you need to have that practice of sitting down and practicing different types. So towards the end, when we are through with almost all the classes, you can start with the online sectional tests that are there. They are very helpful. Same for online reading comprehension tests. Scientists may be able to explain the neurological causes of dyslexia, but they have been at a loss to account for the great difference in the prevalence of the disability from country to country. A couple of years back, researchers wrote in Science that they have come up with an explanation that might rationalize the inequity, the complexity of the writing systems of each country. Italian, British, and French scientists have offered what they believe to be the indubitable proof that dyslexia has a common neurological basis, irrespective of linguistic and cultural diversity. So we know we are talking about dyslexia. I am not writing down the summary for you. You need to have the summary in your mind. We'll discuss it together, or you can write down the summary when you read the passage. As you're reading the passage, you can write down the keywords that are there. So the topic being discussed, dyslexia. Is the disease or is the disability similar in all the countries? No. Explanations given in the Science magazine known as Science, named Science. What do the researchers say? That the difference is based on the complexity of writing systems of each country. Next sentence says Italian, British, and French scientists, do they agree? They say that there is indubitable proof, that means proof without doubt, that dyslexia has a common neurological basis, irrespective of linguistic and cultural diversity. So, do they agree? No, they don't. Now we come to the next paragraph. Paragraph 2 of the same passage says, this is in accordance with information that has already been gathered about the way the brain handles reading, which, unlike speech, is not an innate ability. So here the author differentiates between speech and reading. Speech is an innate ability, whereas reading is not. Now, how does the brain handle reading? That is what he has explained later. The brain converts the written word by breaking it down phonetically. These sound bites, called phonemes, are deciphered to be constituents of a phonetic code. The parts of the brain concerned with reading then match the words on the page to the assembled code. The process is perfected by the time the child is around 7 years old. Dyslexics, however, encounter hurdles when faced with deconstructing words into phonemes. It is often a trial they face throughout their lives. But contrary to common perception, dyslexia is not to be equated with a lack of intelligence. Leonardo da Vinci and the poet W.B. Yeats are believed to have suffered from dyslexia. Today, the public face of the disability includes actor Tom Cruise and artist Robert Rauschenberg. So what is the author saying here? That dyslexia should not be considered to be equal to a lack of intelligence. At the same time, he has explained what happens when one reads. So for a normal person, what would happen? The brain matches whatever you're reading phonetically to the code that is already there in your mind. Whereas this match the following does not occur for a person suffering from dyslexia. And then he ends with examples of some famous personalities who have suffered or who suffer from dyslexia. The next paragraph, let us see what that has for us. It says, in the study conducted, the reading ability of dyslexics from Britain, France, and Italy was tested and compared. It was established that while the visual processing of language was inactive in all, Italian dyslexics could read more easily than their English or French counterparts. This was not due to the language itself, but the written system. While Italian has a great degree of homogeneity in its script, the French and British dyslexics had to grapple with an erratic system of spelling. Italian had 33 ways of spelling to 25 phonemes, the phonemes representing all the sounds in the language, while English has 1120 combinations for its 40 phonemes, making the former a comparatively easy language to read. So Italian is a much easy language to read as compared to the English. So that explains why the Italian dyslexics could read more easily than their English counterparts, provided the Italians were reading Italian and the English were reading English. Approximately 15% of the population of the US is affected by dyslexia, in contrast to the reported rate of dyslexia in Italy, which is half of that of the US. Now, what he has said earlier, the difference in the different combinations of the language, that can account for this difference in statistics available. Now, before we start with the questions given, let us recall what was there in the passage. Let us recall and try to trace the thread in our mind. The first paragraph introduced us to the topic dyslexia. Then he talked about he described certain things that are given in the magazine and what the researchers say. Then in the second paragraph, the author tells us about how the mind of a normal person works as against how the mind of a dyslexic works. He says over here that dyslexics, they do not lack in intelligence. Then he also talks about, in the next paragraph, he talks about a study that was conducted among different dyslexics from different worlds, and he gives us the result of that study. So we can say, in a nutshell, this is what the passage was about. And in between, he has also mentioned certain popular personalities who used to suffer or who suffer from dyslexia. Now, the moment you see an example in a passage, your mind should start thinking as to why that example is there. What is he trying to tell us with the help of that example? So in this passage, the author is trying to tell us that dyslexia need not be a hurdle in your life. Look at these popular, well-known, famous people who have accomplished so much in life in spite of the fact that they are dyslexic. Now let's go to the question. According to the passage, actor Tom Cruise, while familiarizing himself with a movie script, would definitely need somebody to read it aloud for him to follow it, may fail to visually process the language of the script even though it is in a language known to him, would encounter difficulty in understanding it as he has certain neurological deficiencies. Neurological deficiencies mentioned in the passage. Okay. Now, Tom Cruise has no other option but to request for its audio version. Now, which option would you go for? Now, the answer to this question should focus on the dyslexic implications of the task involved. Now, what was written there? That the mind of a dyslexic finds it difficult to read because the person finds it difficult to match what he's reading to the quotes that are there in his brain. So it says now that we know that the visual processing of language is inactive for all dyslexics, as mentioned in the second choice. Now, due to the written system and not the language per se. So what was the choice? Second choice over here, what did it say? It said that Tom Cruise, while familiarizing himself with a movie script, may fail to visually process the language of the script even though it is in a language known to him. Remember the example of the Italian and the English dyslexic? Why was the English person finding it more difficult to read? Remember that part? Okay. So now let's check the other options. Choice 1 and 4, they mistakenly focus on the learning aids. Now what are the learning aids? One says would definitely need somebody to read it aloud. So the aid is over here is that somebody is reading aloud the script to Tom Cruise. 4 says has no other option but to request for its audio version. So both are similar, that somebody else is reading it, the person Tom Cruise himself is not reading. So these two are ruled out. Choice 3, it points towards a cognitive problem. Understanding, while dyslexics or dyslexia refers to a reading disorder. Thus the correct answer is choice 2. This question seems to be a lengthy one. If you remember, before every question, because we went through the idea flow of the passage, it has got only 3 paragraphs, it's easy to recall. Look at the question, look at the answer options, they're lengthy. That means you will need to spend some time in trying to understand what the question means and what each option means. Let's read. Which of the following statements, if true, would weaken the statement made by the author in paragraph 2? What was that sentence? It says that, but contrary to common opinion, dyslexia is not the same thing as lack of intelligence. The first option, there is no correlation between the degree of dyslexia and the level of intelligence exhibited. We have not talked about the degree of dyslexia in the passage. Second option, a famous personality publicly acknowledges his dyslexic problem. Famous personality acknowledges his problem. Now we don't know whether that famous personality is an intelligent one or not. We cannot judge his intelligence by the fact that he's just acknowledged that he's dyslexic. The third one, no dyslexic is known to achieve the pinnacle of glory in his chosen field. If no dyslexic is able to achieve the pinnacle of glory in his chosen field, that means the person has not been able to perform well. Go back to the question. Which of the following statements, if true, would weaken the statement made by the author? The author says that there is no correlation between dyslexia and lack of intelligence. Just because a person is dyslexic does not mean that he is a fool. This is what the author is saying. Whereas this option, the third one, it says that no dyslexic has been able to achieve the pinnacle of glory in his chosen field. So this is in direct contradiction to what the author has said. So this is definitely, if true, this statement if true, definitely weakens the statement made by the author in the second paragraph. The fourth, other parts of a dyslexic's brain, especially those not related to speech, are fully functional. This is out of context. Here we are not discussing the different parts of the brain and how they function. We were not interested in that in the passage. So the correct answer should be option 3. The statement that has to be weakened, as we said, is that dyslexics are not unintelligent, and the evidence that strengthens it is the example that he is given of famous artists and poets who showed signs of dyslexia, yet they performed extremely well in their respective fields. Hence option 3 is your correct answer. The next question. While trying to understand the fundamentals of dyslexia, initially scientists were not able to. So this part over here, initially when they were trying to understand, that part is given in the first paragraph. Second paragraph, they're trying to find out, or they have found out in the second paragraph, how the brain functions or does not function for a dyslexic. So the first question, the scientists initially were not able to figure out why it occurs in the first place. Why it occurs in the first place, they were not able to figure out. But they did figure out in the second paragraph. Okay. Second, initially they were not able to account for the variation in the prevalence in different countries, since the human brain is supposed to be structurally same across the races. Later on in the paragraph,
he comes up with the explanation about the languages, the variations that are there in languages. But in the beginning part, no. Initially, scientists were not able to understand why it manifests itself after the age of 7 in case of children. Now, this is a completely wrong statement. The author does not say this at all. He does not imply this. He just says that the reading abilities are kind of firmed up by the child reaches the age of 7. So 3 is ruled out. 4. Establish the link between the complexity of the script of a language and the degree of difficulty in spelling words. Establish the link between the complexity of the script of a language and the degree of difficulty in spelling words. Was this what initially the scientists were not able to establish? No. The passage informs us that scientists were not able to account for the great difference in the prevalence of the disability from country to country, something the passage attempts to resolve. So choice 1 is attributed to neurological causes, so it's ruled out. Passage does not state that dyslexia appears after the age of 7. Choice 4 is an explanation for the issue in choice 2. So choice 4 is linked to choice 2. So you'll have to carefully decide which one answers this question over here. So in this case, choice 4 explains the issue in choice 2. And the correct answer to the question that initially the scientists were unable to decide about which option? They were unable to account for the variation in the prevalence in different countries. The main purpose behind writing this passage would be, so what would that be? Let's see. Provide hope to the despairing dyslexics that it is not a barrier to achieve greatness in a field. It is not a barrier to achieve greatness. He has mentioned certain famous personalities who suffer from dyslexia. In spite of that, they have achieved great fame. They have been able to accomplish a lot. He also mentions that dyslexia cannot be equated to lack of intelligence. But is that the main purpose of writing the paragraph or the passage? Let's see. Second, understand the relationship, if any, between the system of spelling of a language and the intensity of dyslexia. So when we are talking about the main purpose or the central idea, as I mentioned initially in the earlier session, that one should always focus on how the paragraph or passage starts and how the passage ends. In the beginning, we started discussing as to why the differences are there between dyslexics of different countries, and then how the mind works and various things. So going by that, option 2 can be a possible answer. Now let's go to the third option. So 1 we have eliminated, even though it is there, but it is not the central idea. 2 maybe. 3, show that as the homogeneity of a language increases, the degree of dyslexia decreases. Homogeneity increases, the degree of dyslexia decreases. Now this part, the comparison between the Italian language and the English language, that part matches with this. But again, is that the central idea? Is that what the author is trying to convey? No. Fourth, picture the English language as tough and complex, hence more number of dyslexics in the English-speaking countries. This is definitely not the idea that he wants to convey. So the correct answer here again is 2. The central issue is the inequity of dyslexia that he has introduced in the first paragraph itself. The hypothesis being that the complexity of the writing system of each country, if the writing system is complex, the person suffering from dyslexia finds it very difficult to read, as is the case with English, and as it is not the case with Italian. Now the passage is not motivational, it is objective. So one is ruled out. Inversely proportional relation in choice 3 is not required. The English language is not being targeted in the passage, it just serves as an example. Now discussing speech is irrelevant. So choice 4 is out. Thus the correct answer is option 2. So you see, read a passage, have the common thread, what the author is saying in your mind. Based on that, most of the questions you will be able to answer, most of the inferential questions you will be able to answer without going back to the passage. And that is the kind of expertise that you need to develop. But my dear, remember, for that you have to read very carefully and you have to understand properly, understand exactly what the author says and what the author means. So what the author says is the written word, what the author means is the hidden meaning that is there. So when you read along with the assumptions, the inferences and the conclusions. And chances are that you're going to get to the correct answer easily then. With that, we come to the end of the session. Here is the key for the rest of the questions. Read all the passages carefully, read the questions carefully, pick the correct answer choices and match with the answer key. And at the end, for all the questions that you get wrong, please do analyze as to why this has happened, so that in your future passages, you keep those points in mind and don't make similar mistakes. Okay, thank you.